Kuwasa ho ba naman hindi pa kukuhanin ng DOJ bago siya matanggap sa Witness Protection Program? Mga practical na aspeto lang po, Your Honor.
So ano nga sinabi sa inyo ng mga Discaya? Na-determine ninyo kung magkano ang kinita nila?
Your Honor,
Hindi nga, nakuha nyo na ba? Did they admit to you na sila ay nangulimbat ng ganito karaming pera? I have to explain myself.
Yep.
Hindi ko dinidepensa ng mga taong yon. Ginawa ko lamang yon doon sa nalalaman ko na yun lang, wala nang iba. Kung ipipilit nyo halimbawa, tingnan nyo hanggang ngayon, what is the status of the application, for example, of the Discayas? I am not defending them. Kaya ko lang po pinipilit ito. Wala namang nilalagay na restitution, ipipilit nyo para lang hindi sila ma-cover ng program. So what is their status now with the DOJ? Are you insisting that they restitute? How much? How do you compute it? Paano, ano yung i-restitute niya? Alam mo, magkakatalo lang tayo rito eh.
So, ipoprocess na po yan dahil matagal po naman ang paraan para malaman at matuntun ang lahat ng civil
Wala pa nga
obligation.
pong statement whether or not meron nga sila. Doon sa,
Ano
doon sa
yung
memorandum na
unang
sinasabi mo, Yusek, sinasabi restitution. I recommended that they be processed under the Witness Protection Program. So sumulat po ako sa Senate President, yun naman po yung dapat sa kamalasan naman po, yung araw din na yun, nagkaroon ng coup. So napalitan po ang Senate President, yung naging Senate President, ayaw niya na po.
Sobrang nakakagulat na balita. Grabe si Senador Rodante Marcoleta, pinagtatanggol ang mga Discaya. Ayaw ipabalik ang ninakaw sa flood control, gusto ipasok sa Witness Protection Program. Ayon sa nakalap nating impormasyon, naging mainit ang sagutan sa budget hearing ng Department of Justice matapos mapunta ang usapin sa mga Discaya. Pinipilit kasi ni Marcoleta sa Department of Justice, huwag muna singilin ang mga Discaya. Grabe si Senador Rodante Marcoleta, pinagtatanggol ang mga Discaya. Ayaw ipabalik ang ninakaw sa flood control, gusto ipasok sa Witness Protection Program. Tara panoorin natin.
Earlier po in our work in the Senate, more particularly the Blue Ribbon Committee, this representation as the erstwhile chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee tried his best to get to the bottom of the investigation. We're talking about the flood control anomalous projects. Ang sabi pa nga namin noon, sisisirin po namin yung baha na yan para makita natin ang mastermind. Napakahirap po ng objective na sinet ng inyong lingkod kasi ayoko naman ng ma-pinpoint lang natin. Sabi ko nga, puro sap-sap lang o maliliit na isda. Dapat yung ma-target natin, yung pinakamalaking isda. Kasi siya yung nanggulo ng sistema kung bakit nangyari sa atin ito. And so, I maximize the potential. Naisip po yung Witness Protection Program. Dahil sa hirap po ng pagpipinpoint ng utak talaga niyan, mangangailangan ka. So I floated the idea doon sa 15 contractors initially invited in the hearing. Ang sabi ko sa kanila, well, ano po ito, napakahirap po ng inyong kinasasadlakan ngayon sa investigasyon ito. Unang-una, yung offense po na ating pinag-uusapan is a major offense. Plunder nga po ang mangyayari rito. At least marami pang iba. So, kung gusto po ninyo na tulungan ng Estado, meron po tayong remedyo rito because this is legislative investigation. And under the Witness Protection Program, Section 4, sinasabi niya, kung gusto po ninyong tulungan ng Estado, mahirap po ang gagawin nyo, ngunit may nakalaan pong protection and benefit provided by law. So, nung pinload ko po yung idea na yon, dalawa po yung lumabas, yung mag-asawang Discaya. And initially, he enumerated 17 members of Congress, House of Representatives. Ang nangyari po, kasi hiningi naman nila yung Witness Protection Program, so nung panahon ko po, I recommended that they be processed under the Witness Protection Program. So sumulat po ako sa Senate President, yun naman po yung dapat Sa kamalasan naman po, yung araw din na yon, nagkaroon ng coup. So napalitan po ang Senate President, yung naging Senate President, ayaw niya na po. Ayaw niyang ituloy. At dahil nga po, merong sinabi yung former Secretary of Justice, we cannot process them until and unless they return yung kanilang mga ninakaw, blah, blah, blah. So the new Senate President, pinangatawanan niya yun. Oo nga naman, sabi niya, the Secretary of Justice, sabi niya, that's a good policy. Kailangan mag-restitute muna sila before they can covered by the WPP. Paano po? How can we begin to even pretend that we know what to do and to help the state prosecute? Kung sasabihin na kahit nawala po sa batas, ipipilit halimbawa ng inyong dating secretary na kailangan mag-restitute muna. I told him it is not a requirement under the law. But he insisted in saying, well, yeah, it's not in the law, but we can always agree on something like a good policy for the state. Do you agree with him?
I agree with the position of Secretary Boying Rimulya, now the Ombudsman. Basically, it being one of the conditions. When we look at this, Your Honor, no, we're looking at on the ultimate objective. Paano yung Estado mananalo at mapapanagot itong mga to? Wala pa pong tapos sa pagpoproseso ng mga nakasalang na nag-a-apply po ng Witness Protection Program. Kasi kaakibat po sa pag-aaral na to, kasama rin po yung under the Witness Protection Program, kasama rin po sa pag-aaral ng atin pong prosecution team na yung paano kung pwede ba under Rule 119 naman pagpasok po. Marami pong iba't ibang binabalangkas at pinag-aaralan, Your Honor, at itong mga bagay na to, pwede pa pong makapagdagdag. Ipapasa ko ho kay Chief Dong at ito po ay aming masusing pinag-aralan at ilalahad niyo po yung iba pa pong mga prosesong tinitimbang. Wala pa pong sarado, Senator. Lahat po ay tinitimbang pa. If with the permission of the Senator,
Hindi, ang ibig kong sabihin,
Opo.
kung ipipilit na merong restitution kahit wala sa batas, so how can you process the application, for example, of the applicant? Kasi, kapag tinignan mo yung, I think the applicable section is section 10. Basahin mo yun, wala namang restitution. So, kung ipipilit natin that somebody should first restitute, doon pa lamang sa title ng batas, Secretary, it is all for the benefit, interest, and protection of the witness. To burden him or her with additional requirement which is not in the law. Hindi ko ba intindihan? How can you agree with that?
Your Honor, ang tinitingnan po dito ay yung pangkalahatan.
No, I'm talking about
Opo.
the WPP.
Opo.
What pangkalahatan ang sinasabi ninyo?
Ang kailangan po kasi sa dulo nito, manalo po yung Estado laban po.
Kaya nga, but before you do that,
Opo.
you have to proceed with the process.
Yes, opo.
So, paano siya mapaprocess? Kung ipipilit po na mag-restitute muna, for example, ano i-restitute niya? How much? Sino magkukompute? How can it be done? Sino ang magsasabi na ganito ang dapat niyang i-restitute? Meron na bang ano? Meron na bang pronouncement? We are in the process of asking their help to identify yung mastermind.
Opo.
It cannot be done easily. Kaya nga natin ginamit ang batas na to help the state. Ngayon, kung kayo po pala ay mag-prescribe ng isa pang requirement which is not in the law, I cannot believe this. Ito yung dilemma namin eh. Kaya nung pinipilit niya, sabi, And ako po nagtataka kung bakit kayo rin nag-agree kayo. So ano po talaga, kayo po yung ano eh. Ang DOJ is the principal law agency. If the principal law agency of this government will not even understand the basic requirements of the law para lamang magkaroon ng nag-a-apply pa lang yung tao po eh. Imagine, hindi man natin masasabi kung ultimately magko-qualify siya eh. Or even if he qualifies as a state witness, kung hindi niya naman nagagampanan ang tungkulin niya under the program, pwede mo rin siyang alisin eh. So, the point, Mr. Chair, is they cannot even begin to be processed under the law kasi naglalagay po kayo ng requirement which has not been included by law. Sino yung mag-explain ulit? Sabi? May I be educated on that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to make an attempt to reconcile the debate on this matter. There's actually no inconsistency. First, it is correct that under Section 10, the law provides for the qualifications for a person to be qualified as a state witness. Nandun po yung materiality at absolute necessity ng testimony ng tao at corroborated po to on its material points by other witnesses and that he is not the most guilty. Okay. Now, under Section 5, which refers to the memorandum of agreement that has to be executed between the DOJ and the potential state witness, nakalagay din po dyan yung necessary matters that should bind the agreement dito po sa Witness Protection Program. And under Section 5, letter D, nakalagay din po dyan kung ano po yung legal obligations and civil judgments or civil aspect of the case against him. Ang ibig lang pong sabihin niyan, kakausapin naman po siya, maari pong i-process yung application niya, but under the first statement under Section 5,
What specific provision under that law, under that provision?
Section 5 po says
Ano nga,
that
basahin mo.
before a person is provided protection under this act, he shall first execute a memorandum of agreement
Okay.
which shall set forth his responsibilities including the following.
Oh, ano
So
nga?
kasama po dun sa mga obligations.
Ano nga?
Ito po, to comply with legal obligations and civil judgments. So doon sa civil judgments po, this refers po to the civil obligation pertaining to the crime.
Civil judgment.
No. We are saying legal obligations. Ang basis po ng legal obligations
The basis of legal obligation is the law itself.
is the law itself,
Oh,
which
walang
includes,
nakalagay na restitution. Bakit mo ikokot yung
which
memorandum?
includes po other provisions of law, including the civil code on unjust enrichment. Kasama po yan. Every law should be read consistent and harmoniously
Paano mo nga
with other
i-apply
provisions
yun,
of the
even
law.
the civil code? How can you apply? Paano, ano yung i-restitute niya? Alam mo, magkakatalo lang tayo rito eh.
Hindi ho.
The DOJ
Let me
is in a position to even calculate how much the applicant should restitute before he can be processed under the application.
I'm making a distinction po between process and enjoying the benefits under this act. So, ipoprocess na po yan dahil matagal po naman ang paraan para malaman at matuntun ang lahat ng civil
wala pa nga
obligation.
pong statement whether or not meron nga sila. Wala pa tayo eh.
Kailangan po natin makuha ang mga statement ng mga potential witnesses. Kailangan pong evaluate, kailangan pong malaman
Doon sa,
kung ano po
doon sa
yung
memorandum na
lahat po ng
sinasabi mo, Yusek, sinasabi restitution?
Opo, kasama po.
Sinasabi dyan?
Hindi, ang word po dito ay civil and legal obligations. Understood po na ang legal obligations has many sources.
Saan ang
Kasama
gagaling
po-
ang obligation? The law does not provide restitution in the first place. That is very simple.
Legal obligation po has a
Huwag
specific
kayong
definition.
mag-imagine ng argument, Yusek. Magtatagal lang tayo rito. This is very simple enough.
Apo. Anyway, ang sinasabi ko lang
Kapag
po,
ka ba hindi provided ng batas, magiging reasonabling obligation under the provision you're quoting?
we are saying that legal obligations is defined under
You
the law.
you cannot
And legal
even,
obligations
you
includes
cannot
unjust
use,
enrichment.
your opinion will even matter here. That's your opinion. Ang pinag-uusapan natin is the requisite of law. Does the maxim expressio unius est exclusio alterius ring a bell to you?
Alam po natin yun. Ang
O anong
sinasabi
ibig
ko po,
sabihin nun?
ang what is expressed excluded is not included.
Kaya nga.
So-
You are including an opinion which was not expressly enumerated under Section 10 of the law.
Hindi. We submit, Your Honor, that a witness can be processed under this program, but he cannot receive any of the benefits as stated in Section 5 unless the matter referring to legal obligations is reduced into writing in a memorandum.
So,
Yan
Mr.
po ang
Chair,
posisyon namin.
the opinion of the USEC is trying to supplant the very clear and categorical provision of law.
We submit, Your Honor, we're just reading the text of Section 5. Your Honor, may I also add, we are trying to get to the bottom of the investigation.
You are adding an opinion and you are supplanting the basic provision of law. You cannot do that. And sabi pa nga natin, the spring cannot rise higher than its source. Tama?
Opo.
Paano? Pati opinion mo, gagamitin natin. Sana wag ganun para hindi na tayo magtagal. Paano nyo mapoprocess ngayon ito, SEC, Bida? Kung ipipilit nyo halimbawa, tingnan nyo hanggang ngayon, what is the status of the application, for example, of the Discayas? I am not defending them. Kaya ko lang po pinipilit ito because kagaya ng sinabi ko, gusto nating ma-identify yung mastermind.
Opo.
Kung ayaw ninyong i-identify yung mastermind, that's a different matter altogether. So, kahit na wag nyo na siyang i-process, okay lang. Pero kung gusto nyo malilit na isda lang, kaya ayaw niyang i-process, nasa sa inyo yon. Nasa sa inyo yon. Kasi dito sa inyong presentation, yung office ng secretary, yung law enforcement program ninyo, yung percentage of successful prosecution, meaning conviction vis-a-vis acquittal, is 90.14%. Pero yung percentage of successful prosecution in cases with witnesses covered by the program, it's 95.3%. And then the third, percentage of successful prosecution in relevant cases handled by the DOJ prosecutors, 80.5%. So dito mas mataas talaga yung success if you will use the WPP. Hindi nga ako, nagtataka nga ako kung bakit averse kayo dun sa pag-process dun sa, samantalang wala namang nilalagay na restitution, ipipilit nyo para lang hindi sila makover ng program. So ano mangyayari sa batas natin? You will insist on an opinion supplanting the requisites categorically provided by law. Hindi talaga makakapaprocess. So pinipili nyo yung gusto nyo i-process. Paano natin? Sila lamang ang nakapag-identify initially ng 17 congressmen. At doon sa kanilang mga testimony, lumalabas na rin ang pangalan ni Saldico and Martin Romualdez. Ngayon, kung ayaw ninyong bigyan sila ng protection under that law, kaya siguro umayaw na sila sa ICI. So what is their status now with the DOJ? Are you insisting that they restitute? How much? How do you compute it?
If I may, Your Honor.
Oh, yes.
If I may, Your Honor, to be consistent, the Department of Justice.
No, you are not consistent from the beginning. Huwag mo sasabihin yung to be consistent.
Okay.
There is no consistency here.
Sige po.
Magkano ang gusto nyong restitute nila in the first place?
Okay. Wala pa po sa estado na ganon.
So mga tweet, hindi mapoprocess talaga yan.
Pinoproseso po namin, Your Honor, yung kanyang application.
How can you process the application, Mr. Chair, if you are providing another requisite which is not even written in the law? You are imagining something that is not within the law. You are Department of Justice. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. You're supposed to be the chief.
Pwede ho bang magdagdag, Your Honor? Halimbawa po, sa pagitan po ng pagpapalitan ng statement mula sa witness, sinabi ng isang witness, 'di ba? Kasama ako sa sindikatong ito. 'Di ba? At dahil sa kumita ako dito sa pagsali ko sa sindikatong ito, kumita ako ng 10 milyon. Kuwasa ho ba naman hindi pa kukuhanin ng DOJ bago siya matanggap sa Witness Protection Program? Mga practical na aspeto lang po, Your Honor.
So ano nga sinabi sa inyo ng mga Discaya? Na-determine ninyo kung magkano ang kinita nila?
Diba? Kaya po, Your Honor...
Hindi nga, nakuha nyo na ba? Did they admit to you na sila ay nangulimbat ng ganito karaming pera? I have to explain myself.
Yeah, po.
Hindi ko dinidepensa ng mga taong yon.
Opo.
Ginawa ko lamang yon doon sa nalalaman ko na ma-identify natin ang pinaka-mastermind dito. Yun lang, wala nang iba.
Opo.
Kung gusto nyong ang ma-identify, puro butete at saka sapsap, bahala na kayo sa buhay nyo.
Gusto rin po namin, Your Honor.
Gusto nyo pala eh.
Opo.
Why are you putting a requirement that is not within the law? Tsaka na natin sila pag na-prosecute na natin yung mandarambong, na-prosecute na natin yung mastermind. Bakit? Makakalampas ba sila sa civil liability? Of course, the court will, in proper time, adjudicate kung anong dapat nilang isoli sa gobyerno. That is the only time when restitution can be done. Kasi mayroong court order eh. Pero sa ngayon, will you abuse your discretion na kaya niyong gawin ito kahit na wala sa batas? How can the Department of Justice do that? You're supposed to be the embodiment of justice.
Yes.
Mr.
Thank you, Senator Marcoleta, and would like to implore on the Department of Justice to reflect on the exchange between Senator Marcoleta and, of course, the members of the Department of Justice. Is something that the Department of Justice, the department, might study carefully, analyze the situation carefully. I think the objectives are the same, no? To put people into account or hold people to account, and those who transgressed our laws should be put in jail. No? I think that is very clear in our objectives. I think the approach might be different, the opinions might be different, but let's reflect on it, no? Because ang gusto naman natin yung objective na may managot at may makulong at mabilis. No?
We will do, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Yes. So while we take a break on this topic, I'll go to a similar topic, but not going into the legal aspect of it. No? But I just want to get a broader sense of where we are in terms of holding people to account and putting people to jail. May movement sa Department of Justice, alam naman natin. Si Secretary Remulla ngayon nasa Ombudsman at ngayon may bago tayong kalihim, may bago tayong secretary, and then may ICI na binuo. No? So, what is the role now of DOJ, the role of ICI, and the role of Ombudsman in this quest to hold people to account and put people in jail, those who transgressed our laws? So, ano ngayon ang role ng Department of Justice in, kasi parang may added body, no, yung ICI, no? So paano yung tong interplay or ano yung mga roles nitong bodies
Okay.
nito?
Ang basic po ng paghabol po sa mga tiwaling lingkod bayan na hindi tumutupad sa kanilang tungkulin sa batas ay nakaatang mayorya sa Ombudsman. Noong 2012 po, merong Memorandum of Agreement ang DOJ at Ombudsman kung saan nagkaroon ng sanib-puwersa, paano mausig, paano mapanagot yung mga tiwaling lingkod bayan. At base po dito sa MOA na to, nagkaroon po ng hatian ng trabaho. Yung po yung case build up, pagpo-prosecute para po dun sa salary grade 26 and below, yung po ang napaatang sa DOJ. At yung 27 and above, ang mayorya pong jurisdiction ay nasa ombudsman. Pero sa kabila po nung deputization na yon ng sa DOJ, ang kabuuang pagpapatakbo pa rin ng pag-uusig ng plano, kung ano man ang dapat gawin para usigin yung mga dapat managot na public officials ay nasa ombudsman pa rin po. Sa kasalukuyan po, create po yung ICI. Yung ICI po ay pursuant to executive order. At kasama po sa kanilang mandato ay magkalap, 'di ba? Nag-offer sila sa public, basically public crowdsourcing po. Kung sino man ang may kaukulang impormasyon ay tinatanggap nila at pinoproseso. Dahil nga po na-appoint na at nag-assume na ang ating bagong ombudsman, ang lahat po ng aming mga findings sa DOJ, meron din po kaming task force on this flood control. So lahat po ng findings namin ngayon, lahat po ay ipinapasa namin sa ombudsman, no? Kasama na po, referral po lahat sa ombudsman. Kasi sa ilalim po ng mandato ng ombudsman ay ang opisina po ng ombudsman ang may pangkabuoang kapangyarihan at mandato para usigin yung mga iba't iba pong dapat managot.
So ngayon, itong mga investigasyon, ombudsman na ang magtutuloy.
Hindi po, patuloy po yung mandato kasi ng iba na pagkakalap, pero sa dulo po yung pag-refer po namin sa ombudsman, no? Pati po rin po yung pag-case build up, iniipon po namin tulad po nung aming task force. May na-refer po kami sa Office of the Ombudsman Tuesday last week na 5 kaso. Ito po yung mga nabuo na po ng mga team ng DOJ kung saan po yung mga ghost project po. Diba? Na-refer na po namin. Ngayon po, ang inaantay po namin ay kung sasabihin sa amin ng ombudsman, sila ba magpa-file ng magsisimula ng prosecution nun o DOJ po?
Diba ang ICI is also a fact-finding body?
Yes, opo.
They're also, meron rin silang case build-up
Yes, opo.
responsibility. So paano yung interplay nun? Paano yung roles ng DOJ and ICI in terms of case build-up, in terms of fact-finding?
Sa fact-finding po, humingi po ng tulong sa amin ng ICI.
May conflict ba? Yun ang inaano ko, mayroon bang conflict na ginagawa ng ICI pero ginagawa na rin ng task force ninyo?
Wala naman pong conflict. More po ang nagko-coordinate po yung ICI. Kasi may iba po silang sources na hindi po available sa, tulad po yung kakayanan nilang magpatawag sa iba't ibang ahensya ay nagagawa ng ICI. Sa kasalukuyan nga po, nanghihiram ang ICI ng ilang piskal na para tulungan sila. Dahil ang may kakayanan po na magbalangkas ng mga ebidensya na naiipon at impormasyon ay ang mga na atin pong mga kasalukuyang mga taga-usig. So ito po yung magkabilang tulungan po na amin pong binibigay para sa ICI.
Sir?
Yeah, yes, go ahead, Senator.
Akala ko ba ang ICI is an independent body? Pagka-independent, gagawin niya sa sarili niya, di ba? Tama.
Opo, ang ano po is yung
Teka
pagtulong.
muna,
Opo.
sumagot ka lang.
Opo, Senator.
Independent, di ba?
Opo.
Ba't kinakailangan siyang humingi ng tulong sa mga fiscal ninyo, prosecutors? That is not being independent.
Okay.
Tama?
We submit to your wisdom, Your Honor.
Of course. Kasi nga, tingnan mo yung creation niya. It should be an sa pangalan pa lang, independent, ano na yun, Che? ICI. Independent Commission on Infrastructure. Pag binasa mo yung kanyang mga powers, di ba, this is something that also the senators will, one way or the other, discuss probably in the course of time. Sabi niya, upon request, it can obtain information from the House of Representatives, the Senate, the courts, the Ombudsman, and other authorities. So paano yun? Bakit ka independent? And dami mo namang nagre-request ka kung kani-kanino eh. Can the Senate refuse, for example? In observance of the separation of powers. Halimbawa, nag-request siya, address to the Senate President. Wala pa kaming choice. Because there are institutional boundaries. We need to exercise the system of checks and balances. So sasabihin niya, Independent Commission on Infrastructure. Paano kang independent and dami mong kinakasangkapan, hingi ka ng hingi? You should obtain the information by yourself, all alone. Yun ang independent. Tama?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. May I continue, Mr. Chair?
Oh, yes, go ahead, Mr. Senator Marcoleta.
You're familiar with the now famous statement, sometimes you have to bend the law to please our people. You're familiar with that?
Not so familiar with that, Your Honor.
How come you're not familiar with that? May I refresh your memory?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
We were talking about, this issue of restitution and blah, blah, blah. Hanggang dumating yung isang point where one of us made a suggestion. Sometimes we have to bend the law in order to please the people. And he asked the former Secretary of Justice for affirmation. Am I correct, Mr. Secretary? And the Secretary said, yes, sir. You agree with the affirmation of the Secretary of Justice?
I do not agree.
Thank you.
I do not agree because basically in implementing the law, there are positions you can take, but bending the law is not one of them, Your Honor.
Buti na lang ganyan ang sinagot mo. Kasi sa ibang mga interview, sinasabi niya, bending the law is okay, basta wag lang breaking the law. How can you accept that kind of statement? You cannot bend the law. No one is above the law, sabi pa nga natin. And the overarching principle in the promulgation of our Constitution is upholding the rule of law. No one should bend the law. Not even in imagination. Mahirap po yun eh. Kasi kung sinabi mong you agree, ang dami po kasi nagte-text sa akin, Yusek Andres. Ganyan palang ginagawa sa mga taxes na binabayad namin. Mga buwis namin eh. Hirap na hirap kami, mga halos dugo, pawis. Minsan may kahalo pang sipon eh. Makapagbayad lang kami ng tamang buwis sa ating pamahalaan bilang mga patriotic na citizens. Pwede mo ba, sir? Sabi nila sa akin. Ilaban mo naman kami, yung 2026, wag na muna kami magbayad ng tax. Because somebody said, sometimes we can bend the law to please the people. I may be able to please them, Secretary. Kasi yun ang text nila. Can I say yes to them? Can I?
You
Thank you. Ito pong Secretary, yung pagkaka-transport ng dating Pangulo ng Republika sa The Hague. ang pagkakaalam ko po kasi, maraming pronouncement ang ating Pangulo. Yung iba na-memorize ko pa nga po eh. We will not assist the ICC in any way, in any form. From now on, I ask my secretaries to do the same. I mean, something like that. Pero nangyari, kabaligtaran, Secretary, di ba? The former Secretary of Justice explained that, well, those pronouncements are not cast in stone. Ito na naman eh. Ito yung parang ephemeral lang nangyayari. Parang the government officials' decision, sabi niya, sometimes can be changed at times. What do you think are the factors that necessitated a change of mind? Like from not assisting the ICC in any manner, in any way, in any form, he was just transported there. Now languishing in the detention center on the other side of the planet. What do you think are the factors used by the DOJ?
First, Your Honor, if I'm not familiar to the particular circumstances that the secretary, the particular facts that which made the secretary made the actions before.
Who is familiar? Who is familiar from
And
among
second,
you?
Your Honor, if I also may state, the matter is pending now with the matter before the Supreme Court. So the position, the legal position on the actions of the former Secretary of Justice has been elucidated with the court. But for the Department of Justice, it's Chief Dennis Chan who made the argument and presented the position of the DOJ in this regard, Your Honor.
My question is, what are the factors that necessitated a change of mind from not helping the ICC in any way, in any form, which is a policy matter, with the reverse that happened?
I'm not privy to that, Your Honor.
Who is privy? Kasi parang,
Your Honor, it may be the former secretary, now the ombudsman.
oh, wala na siya sa DOJ, nasa ombudsman na siya. Alam nga namang
Yes.
ipatawag natin siya rito.
Yes, Your Honor.
What happens now to the principle of continuity? Well, people might say and suspect that, even policy matters can be changed by mere whims or caprices, which are not probably based on sound legal basis. You are familiar with Republic Act 9851. This is our Philippine Act on crimes against international humanitarian law, genocide, and other crimes against humanity.
Not so familiar with that. 9851, Your Honor.
Kasi, Secretary, under that law, ang jurisdiction po ng mga tao na nagkasala under this law, under Section 17 of that law, the state shall exercise jurisdiction over persons, whether military or civilian, suspected or accused of a crime defined and penalized under the Act, regardless of where the crime is committed, provided any of the following conditions is met. The accused is a Filipino citizen. The accused, regardless of citizenship or residence, is present in the Philippines, or the accused has committed the said crime against a Filipino citizen. So if these are the assumptions in the law, ang Pilipinas ay may jurisdiction. And under Section 18, the Philippine courts, prosecution, and investigators, the regional trial courts of the Philippines, shall have original and exclusive jurisdiction over the crimes punishable under this Act. Ngayon po, if we consider the applicability of this law, bakit po na-transport yung dating Pangulo natin at hindi natin nilitis sa sarili po nating jurisdiction?
If with permission of the Honorable, may I refer to the Chief Dennis Chan?
Good, good morning, Your Honors. Good morning, Senator Marcoleta and Senator Gatchalian. You are correct, Your Honor, that Section 17 on jurisdiction provides for the state exercising jurisdiction over persons suspected or accused of committing a crime penalized under RA 9851. The second paragraph of Section 17, Your Honors, does mention that in the interest of justice, the relevant Philippine authorities may dispense with the investigation or prosecution of a crime if another court or international tribunal is already conducting the investigation or undertaking the prosecution of such crime. Instead, the authorities may surrender or extradite suspected or accused persons in the Philippines to the appropriate international court, if any, or to another state pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties. Your Honor, I believe this was the justification relied upon by the former Secretary of Justice in the action leading to the transfer of the former President, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Chair, they are referring to the second paragraph of Section 17 of 9851. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Prosecutor, I noted that, but I think the colatilla is very, very clear. Pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties. This is absent. So how can you invoke this? Wala na tayong treaty. We have just withdrawn from the Rome Statute. So this cannot be applied. Is that correct?
Your Honor, the way we interpreted that second sentence of instead the authorities may surrender or extradite, we see there two different actions to be taken by the state. It's either to surrender or to extradite, and then if it is to extradite, then it must be pursuant to an applicable extradition law or treaty. So the action taken, Your Honor, was surrender and not extradition.
Pero ang sinasabi niya, pareho sila eh. Yung dalawang conditions na yun will be cut under this pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties. Wala tayong extradition law, wala na tayong treaty because we just withdrawn from the Rome Statute. Hindi mo pwedeng gamitin ito. Kaya dapat yung mag-a-apply is 9851. This is our own law. Okay lang naman dito eh. Can we not prosecute the former president kung talagang meron siyang kasalanan? Our National Prosecution Service, the judiciary, I think, is or are operating, and they're willing, they're competent enough to prosecute, adjudicate, and proceed with the trial. Hindi ba?
Your Honor, with all apologies, I am not able to answer the question as to whether we can prosecute. I am just merely stating that the action of the former Secretary of Justice in for the transfer of the former President to the ICC was premised on Section 17, RA 9851, under the second paragraph.
Yes, but what I'm saying is you cannot use this one because of the absence of an extradition law and treaty. That is the point here.
And Your Honor, that is the subject matter or among one of the issues that we raised in the, or that is being discussed in the Supreme Court petitions that were filed.
Pero nangyari na kasi, dinala nyo na siya doon eh. Under the false claim na pwede nyo gawin because of this. But you did not complete the whole statement. kung kinonsider niyo yung pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties, hindi dapat nangyari yun eh. So ngayon, kung halimbawa nag-argue kayo sa Supreme Court, nangyari na yun, ando na yung mama, di ba?
Your Honor, if I may also explain, I have no knowledge or participation whatsoever in the events that
Hindi,
led
okay,
to the-
okay naman yun. Kaya tinuro ka kasi ni...
Yes, Your Honor, to explain the legal justification or premise on which
Yeah, but the
former-
legal justification is wrong.
We submit, Your Honor, although that is already pending before the Supreme Court, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome, Your Honor.
Chair, salamat po.
Thank you, Senator Marcoleta, for those interventions. Secretary, babalik lang ako doon sa yung tanong kong the roles between ICI. Meron bang duplication between ICI and DOJ? Both are fact-finding, both are case building. Meron bang duplication, and how do we differentiate the two roles or the two bodies?
May PG Dong would answer.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. There would be no duplication, sir, because in the investigations which are conducted by the Department of Justice, with the assistance of the NBI, during the meetings that we have, members of or representatives from the ICI are also present. And we supply them and we furnish them copies of whatever the results are of the investigation, just to make sure that ICI is also informed of the actions being taken by the Department of Justice. And as much as possible, any filings, for example, that we did with the Office of the Ombudsman is also furnished the ICI, just so to make sure that we're not investigating the same cases. Now, as far as the Department of Justice is concerned, we can proceed already with our own investigation depending on the evidence that is submitted to us or gathered by the National Bureau of Investigation. So, on our own, we can already, through the assistance of the NBI, make recommendations for cases which may be filed already for preliminary investigation. Now, as far as the ICI is concerned, my understanding, sir, is that they are fact-finding, and whatever the results of their fact-finding investigation would be is the one which will be forwarded to the Office of the Ombudsman or the Department of Justice, as the case may be.
The ICI now in full blast. Is the DOJ still investigating flood control projects through your task force?
Yes, sir. We still are conducting investigations, like I said, with the assistance of the National Bureau of Investigation.
Okay. And yun ang yun yung instinct ko, baka magkaroon ng duplication, baka you might be investigating the same personalities and filing the same cases to the ombudsman. And of course, ayaw natin magkaroon ng conflict between the two investigations. That's also another aspect that we are also looking at here in the Senate through the Blue Ribbon Committee. We're very mindful of that, na hindi magkaroon ng duplication or conflict. But in your case, since may dalawang body na, there's a danger na magkaroon ng conflict through duplication or looking at the same personalities but different lenses.
Like I said, like I mentioned earlier, Mr. Chair, the department also, with the task forces that are tasked to conduct investigations into the flood control projects, work with representatives from the ICI. So they are present also in the meetings that we would have with the National Bureau of Investigation. So they are informed real time as to the investigations that we are doing. And in addition to that, whatever the results are of our investigation is furnished the ICI, just so that there will be no duplication in the investigations that will be conducted.
The primary jurisdiction on investigating a particular, let's say, personality or particular, kasi ang dami, we're talking about if the information yesterday is accurate, there are about 421 ghost projects all over the country investigated by the Department of Public Works through different agencies. Merong AFP, merong iba-ibang grupo na ginamit sila. So, though in each of those 421 is a case itself. Tama? No?
Sure.
Diba? And so how do you delineate the line kung ito iniimbestigahan na ng ICI, dapat hindi na namin imbestigahan to, o itong personality kausap na nila? How do you now delineate or divide the line
Well,
between the two?
Mr. Chair, even the Department of Public Works and Highways, which is the agency which has a lot of investigations to be conducted on, we also coordinate with them, no? And in fact, we even secure documents from them, try to get and gather evidence that will be used in the cases that we build up. Now, we are aware of the investigations being conducted by the Department of Public Works and Highways, and that is also the reason why when we sit down and meet, no, with our counterparts from the National Bureau of Investigation, the DPWH representatives are also there, just so that we are aware of the investigations that they are conducting or looking into, the personalities who are involved, and we compare our notes and exchange notes. In fact, we get some help from them, and they also secure some documents from us, just to make sure that we're not tackling the same case which is being investigated by both agencies, Your Honor.
Manner, I heard you earlier na merong tao ang ICI sa DOJ. Doon sa, I would assume doon sa task force nyo. Just to make sure that they're in the loop on real time.
They are not assigned with the Department of Justice, but they do attend, and we notify and inform them every time there's a meeting of the task force of the Department of Justice and the National Bureau of Investigation. Yusek Andres would be able to expound on it, sir.
Yeah, in the same manner, DOJ also has a representative in the ICI to know which items are they investigating, which personalities are they looking at.
Earlier, sir, Secretary Vida mentioned that we have also prior coordination with the ICI, as in fact, ICI has also requested for assistance from the department to have our prosecutors help out, no, in the technical working groups. The purpose of which is also for us to have access and knowledge of the investigations which are being conducted, the witnesses who are being interviewed, to see if they can also be of help in the cases that are being developed by the Department of Justice. Sir,
So go ahead.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, just to put some context on the matter, even prior to the constitution of the ICI, because this is our main mandate under the DOJ, and we task the National Bureau of Investigation to do the initial investigations, we already directed all our regional directors of the NBI to conduct investigation on their respective areas. So even before the ICI was constituted, we already had some groundwork. That's why we were able to file 5 cases immediately with the Ombudsman, referring to 5 cases in Bulacan, because we did this. Now, when the ICI commenced its investigation, and we gathered that they have already determined, with the help of the AFP and the police officers, the PNP, that there are 421 ghost projects, and they have identified the exact places and the contracts covering this. We likewise disseminated the 421 to the projects, to the regional offices of NBI to do follow-up work with the DPWH. So even before the ICI was constituted, our office already took the initiative to do the investigation because we believe it's our primary mandate. And even the meetings with the DPWH were already conducted to understand the work process and document approval flow, so that this will be the basis of the malversation cases, anti-graft cases. And we have practically completed it. And if I may actually explain the challenge that we are having presently, it's actually access to the whistleblowers, because they are in detention because of the contempt charges. We are not given ready access, and we have to coordinate. It would be most helpful for the DOJ to complete its investigation if the witness protection program already admits them as protected witnesses, and we can have direct access to them at any given time, and they will have access to their own documents and people that they need to talk to complete the investigation. So we are hoping that when we process the documents of the possible whistleblowers who can be admitted formally because they are just now provisionally accepted, the custody would be allowed to the WPP, and that would enhance the case build-up process.
So to date, ilan na na-file na cases pertaining to the flood control? Ilan na na-file sa
With the Ombudsman, I think there are 5.
There are 5
Five.
And these are all
ghost projects.
the ones
projects.
in Bulacan.
Bulacan.
All 5 are the ones
That's correct.
pertaining to
That's correct,
Bulacan. Okay. And then are you still investigating the others that came out?
Yes.
Yung 421 and yung 421 goes lang yun. Iba pa yung substandard.
Yes.
Na may mga substandard.
We have a steady stream of completed investigations that we are now filing before the Ombudsman for the conduct of preliminary investigation. And the Ombudsman may choose to refer the preliminary investigation to the DOJ as consistent with the memorandum of agreement mentioned by OIC-BIDA.
Are you also investigating, yung sinabi nga kanina ni Senator Marcoleta, yung mga politicians involved? Is that part of your
Yes, Your Honor,
investigation?
we are following through on the leads given by the whistleblowers, the congressmen involved, and even some senators involved. And we are pursuing the case, but we are very circumspect about this. We already filed through the assistance of the AMLC freeze orders for those we believe should already be prosecuted in court. And we have secured 6 freeze orders already. That includes the officials of DBWH, some of the contractors, and some of those involved in the kickback mechanism.
Because that's an observation of mine is yung ICI, marami silang pinapatawag ng mga politicians, pinapatawag ng mga elected officials. I think yung kanilang angulo is more on the source of the funds. No? I think that is their angle. Based on my observation, this is purely based on my observation. Is that the difference between where DOJ is pursuing and between the ICI is pursuing in terms of angles?
I believe the latitude of ICI is wider. But for us, we do it systematically. We go to the process first. We understand the deviations of the process committed by the DPWH officials, and then this will lead to testimonies of possible proponents who intervened, why projects are allocated budget and ghost projects were implemented. And then only from there, we will conduct financial investigations. This is something that we have to do systematically, because once these individuals, the TBWH contracts are investigated, the names will now be subjected to financial investigation. And when there is a financial trail establishing links to the possible proponents, then we move ahead to the next steps.
And you said earlier that tuloy-tuloy yung investigation nyo
Yes,
ngayon.
Your Honor.
So I just want to understand. I'm sure a lot of the public wants to understand. Saan ba yung line between the ICI and DOJ? No, that's the point I'm trying to make. Because the ICI, like you said, has a wider latitude. In fact, based on the media reports, they also interview politicians. They also get information from elected officials. So it seems to me that their scope is wider to include the source of the fund, no? Allegedly. No? So that's I'm trying to understand where's the delineation in this case, because we also want to make sure that there's efficiency, in terms of pursuing these cases.
Yeah,
No?
as earlier explained, the ICI representative sits in at times to observe what we are doing. And we just try to avoid duplication so that we make more efficient use of resources.
And also conflict.
Obviously,
I think the conflict
Your
will
Honor.
not be fruitful for government. The conflict will be, in fact, beneficial to those who committed the crimes, kasi conflict creates confusion as well.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah. All right. So let's leave it at that. No, I just want to make sure that there's that the coordination and the delineation is very clear between these two bodies, which are very important in these times. No? Senator Marcoleta.
Thank you, Chair. Prosecutor, sabi mo kanina meron kayong na-identify na 421 ghost flood control projects.
It's not us who identified it, Mr. Chair. It's the Department of Public Works and Highways. It was-
421.
Sila po ang nag-identify, hindi po ang Department of Justice.
And,
Or with the help of the ICI po.
No, what I'm saying is, were you able to confirm that number na 421 talaga?
No,
of
sir.
course, they can always identify how much or how many. Pero na-confirm po ba ninyo?
Hindi pa po namin ako-confirm kasi what we're doing is we're having that information validated, but the numbers can even increase, sir.
Kasi po, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, there are about 10,000 flood control projects. So, kung 421 ang sinasabi nila, could be less, could be more.
That is correct,
Ang
sir.
importante, tama naman po yung medyo naguguluhan kami kasi paano yung delineation nga naman, ano? Yung isa nagpapaka-independent, pero they rely most on your prosecutors also and some of your agents. At baka nga naman pag walang proper delineation, at saka kung nagkaroon ng conflict, sino po yung, kunyari, yung findings po ninyo, mangyayari yun eh. There could be conflict in outcome. Or, sino magpiprevail? Kayo po o yung ICI?
Hindi, it would be the Office of the Ombudsman, sir. Sir, may I make a clarification po dun sa tanong po ninyo?
Hindi kasi bago nyo ibigay sa ombudsman, eh, di ba kayong dalawa, sabi nyo, nagkakaroon kayo ng coordination eh. So,
Yes, sir.
how can it be coordination kung independent dapat sila? Yun ang punto eh. They should be independent no matter what. Kayo sana ay maaring tumutulong kayo in another capacity but in a manner that they can still maintain their independence. Hindi ganun ang nakikita namin eh. Baka nga ang mangyayari, conflict pa nga ang, and then duplication or even conflict. Yun po yung sinasabi ni Chairman. And pwede ba kayong mag-file kaagad na diretso sa korte bypassing the Ombudsman?
It would appear that we could, sir, because there is a memorandum of agreement which allows us to handle, investigate cases involving individuals, salary grade below 27.
It's a memorandum of agreement between the OJ and the Ombudsman?
Yes, that is correct, sir.
Okay. Kailan po nangyari yun? Anong date yun?
2012 po.
2012?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yusek Andres, ano ba yung sabi nyo kanina, yung ibang nagawa nyo na naka-freeze kayo ng assets ng mga politicians. Sino-sino na pong mga politicians ang na-freeze ang assets?
I can give you the names, Your Honor, privately, but the majority of those subject of the freeze orders are
Bakit
not.
privately? Can you not divulge them?
I do not have right now
Okay.
copies of that. And if I may clarify, I think the freeze orders have not touched politicians. I mean government officials like DPWH officials
So sa-
are already part of the freeze orders.
Sa social media kasi nakikita namin may mga politicians na
Wala pa po.
na-freeze.
Wala pa po.
Wala talaga.
Government officials, meaning DPWH officials, yes.
O,
But
teka muna.
elected officials,
Yun
I
ang
do not.
sinasabi kong mga sapsap at saka butete lang eh.
We have to be systematic
Ang palagi
about
ko sinasabi, we should get to the bottom of this. Yung mastermind, yung pinakamalaking isda, yun ang dapat nating
We are
makuha.
being systematic and circumspect about this, Your Honor, but we are leading to that.
You're very optimistic, ha?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Pero tama nga, kailangan sabihin mo kay OIC Secretary na alisin na yung restitution na yun. Tama nga na. Nakita mo, naghihirap siya sapagkat ayaw ninyong ilagay sa witness protection. Magagamit niya pala eh. It will expedite his job eh.
Ngayon, ikaw bilang Pilipino, ano ang masasabi mo at reaksyon sa balitang ito? Mag-iwan ka ng komento sa ibaba at atin pong babasahin isa-isa.